Have you let them in already? Oh,
Okay, people are in, and go ahead. I'll let people in as they come in later.
All right, sounds good.
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Petronella. I'm the nurse at RSS, for those of you who may not know me. So today we have Jack and Haley, the occupational therapy students from Columbia University. These are graduate students, and they're going to be doing a 10-week comprehensive program. I just found that it's comprehensive. This is 10 weeks, so today is the first day. So of course, if everyone really likes it, you come every Monday at 1 o'clock, and they can introduce themselves from here on. All right, over to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's called avoiding accidents. Sorry.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming. Obviously, we're going to be talking about how to prevent falling. Today, we're just going to give a brief overview as to what occupational therapy is, so our role in how to prevent falling, and some risk factors that may lead to falling. So today's more of like a brief summary before we go into it in the next upcoming weeks. So we're going to go over today's objectives. We have 4 main objectives. The first one is to describe what occupational therapy is. The second one is to talk about the risk factors related to falling, as I said. The third is we're going to discuss what mindfulness is. Mindfulness, we'll get into it more, but it's a very good technique for one of the biggest risk factors related to falling. So we'll get into that later. And then finally, we're going to end it with what's coming next, what's in the next 9 weeks, as well as to get some of your feedback as to how today went, just so we can know how to improve it for later. So who are we? As Petronella said, we are occupational therapy graduate students from Columbia University. So I'm Jack, that's Haley. We were talking about it before, but we're in our last semester of this 2-year program. So we're graduating in May, we're ready to start working. I'm from New Jersey. I live with my girlfriend in the picture. We have a dog named Louie, which I didn't picture, but I wish I did because he's very cute. He's kind of a jerk, but he's cute. And then
I'm from California. I have a cat instead of a dog, but I do really want a dog. So hopefully I get one soon.
Okay. So we wanted to know more about, once the slide works, more about you guys, just so we can get to know who's in the room, what your names are. We wanted to know what your interests are, your hobbies, what programs you enjoy at RSS. And this is more for our information so we know how to steer our program in the future. But if you wanted, somebody wants to start introducing themselves.
Well, I'm Anna Kastner, and on Mondays here they have an exercise program on at 11. So I haven't done it in a while, but anyway, I'm interested in, but definitely what you have to do. Because I was here when you first came.
Yeah,
So
we like the exercise and the falls.
yeah, definitely interested in how to get up from, how to fall and how to get up from one.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Anybody?
If anybody wants to speak.
Yeah,
If
I'm
any,
Dennis,
Go ahead.
And I'm a klutz, and I do fall a lot. My
Okay.
whole life, you know, my family always made fun of me, and I get bruised a lot. But I think it's because I'm not thinking when that happens. My mind is racing ahead,
Yeah,
so I have to calm myself down.
not paying attention to what's
Be
around.
mindful.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're getting to that today.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I fell about 4 weeks ago because I was being very creative, trying to stand on one leg, and I just, fell off the leg. I tried to do exercise. I've been doing it now for about 3 weeks. But before the pandemic, I was constantly going. I was very active. And then during the pandemic, all I did was eat cake and ice cream.
Yeah, as
For
many
2.5
people did.
years, I was eating cake and ice
Good,
cream.
good choices.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to get back
Back to
to
that.
exercise.
Yeah. Yeah, the pandemic was hard for sure. Caused a lot of problems.
Yes.
You want to introduce yourself?
Well, I have been here, so it's a continued program, huh? Because I remember seeing you. Well, my name is Lotte Spitzer, as I did. And I had last winter getting on my shoes and fell and broke my hand. Well, luckily, when my daughter brought me to the hospital, unfortunately, one nurse didn't think you need surgery, even if it looked like it was broken, you know. A few weeks later, I had come back for a lookout and said, doctor decided, no, it's broken, it has to be surgery, you know. Well, and then of course, I'm careful. And every day I watch it, I don't do something suddenly, you know,
Yeah.
not just get up and so.
Take your time.
And this is what I always take along. Because when I had 3 years ago, my back broken, you know. My bones get old, you know, and
Yeah. We'll talk all about
unfortunately
that.
things happen.
Yeah,
You know, 7 people to introduce online.
sure.
So the people online, you can start introducing yourselves one at a time, please. Can you see that? Okay.
We'll go like this. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to start speaking online, just unmute yourself and you can introduce.
Hi.
Is it muted?
We have Barbara, can you unmute? I'm not sure if she has to unmute them. Everybody fine? Yes.
That's fine. If they have the option, if they don't unmute, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
If anybody though change their mind or online wants to either say something or something in the chat, I can always read it to them.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep going then. Okay.
Oh, we just had one person. down there.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize also, yeah, I'm Luciana Pepanella, yeah. I've been coming to the center since 2010, but I'm interested in this.
Okay. Learning more about falls prevention. I like it. All right. Thank you, everybody. So is there any questions before we begin with our information? No questions. So, objective number 1, what is occupational therapy? Does anybody have any experience with OT before? Or know anybody that's had OT? Yeah, okay. Do you know anything about what we do? Any clues or no?
A little bit, but
Yeah, not a lot, right?
there's some, I guess it's close to physical therapy, but there's some different, I guess you concentrate on certain areas.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good definition. Not a lot of people know what occupational therapy is until you have it. So that's why we like to explain what it is, just to get that idea in your head. So we have this sheet. It's also on the screen. I'll just read it. What is occupational therapy? Occupational therapists work with individuals to achieve independence, meaning, and satisfaction in all areas of life. And then occupations are anything you do during the day between the time you wake up and the time you go to bed. So this includes things like bathing and dressing yourself, to things like cooking and hanging out with friends. If there's a conflict or interest that an individual wants to work on, occupational therapy can help. So we're targeting these many different areas: money management, job skills, we can help you develop leisure interest, social participation, social skills, hygiene, health management, meal preparation, rest and sleep, stress management, community integration, and a lot more. So we really help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve during the day. And if there's any obstacles getting in the way of that, then we find a way to work around them. This is more of a technical definition from the AOTA, which is the American Occupational Therapy Association. It's like our guidelines. Occupational therapists help people participate in their desired occupations with the therapeutic use of everyday activities based on the client's personal interests and needs. So occupations are the activities people of all ages need and want to do, like making meals, dressing, managing medications, driving, going to school or work, playing, or caring for community members. So we target a lot of areas. As you can see in this, I like to use this picture as an example. That's a man in a wheelchair who wanted to bake cookies. And I'm sure you can imagine how hard that is to maybe reach high shelves in your kitchen if you're bound to a wheelchair. So OT, most often in this case at least, will go into your home if you're in a wheelchair, help you reorganize your kitchen to make things more accessible, to make the goal, the occupation of making cookies a lot easier. So we target these daily activities that you do that you may not think of that would be a problem if you have some sort of disability or what have you.
I have a question. What's the difference between the occupational therapist and the physical therapist? Like, what's the main difference?
Yeah, so we're very similar, depending on the setting at least, because we could work in hospitals, but occupational therapists tend to focus on the activity. So if someone's having trouble baking cookies and they have one arm due to an amputation or something, we focus more on the function of the activity and how that person functions doing the activity rather than regaining strength in their one arm, or if it's in their legs, physical therapists will work on the strength aspect where we focus more on the function. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Other questions?
Yes, so we're more focused on daily activities.
Yeah. It's more of the obstacles related to the disability rather than curing the disability itself. We do both, but it's mostly the activity.
That's why we always have to work together. If you see a PT, you oftentimes see an OT, or like vice versa.
Yeah. We'll work on the strength and we'll work on that. Okay. So now we're going to talk about some risk factors related to falling. This is a big area that OTs work on because falling obviously is an issue. As you know, I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of problems that can occur after you fall. So part of our job is to help reduce the risk related to falling, to help prevent it rather than cure it after it's already happened. So these are just some graphs that we found from the CDC. In 2018, the total number of older adults, which is people classified as 65 and up, that's how they classify their older adults. There was 52 million older adults in 2018, 36 million of which experienced a fall that year. So obviously that's a big number. That's more than half. And 8 million of those people had an injury from that fall. In 2030, the number is expected to rise to 73 million people, 52 of which will experience a fall that year, and 12 million injuries from those falls. So clearly this is a big issue.
Not to rise, not to lower.
It's going up. It's going up because as the years go by, there's more older adults. People are living longer. So more people are classified as 65 and up. And then that population experiences more falls.
We're getting older, I know.
Getting older, yes. So it's a big issue, and we want to help try to minimize these triangles, basically. Minimize the falls and the injuries related to falls. So these are more statistics for you. 1 out of 4 older adults will fall each year. 41% of community dwelling older adults, so these are people that still live in their homes, still go to the supermarket, all that. They report a fear of falling, so they're afraid of falling, as I'm sure everybody would be, right? And then 41% of those people who have a fear of falling reported falling within the next 2 years. So what this is saying, what I wanted to prove with these stats, were to show you that a fear of falling is actually a risk factor in itself. The fact that you're afraid of tripping makes you more cautious, and that actually leads to a higher risk of falls. So we're going to get more into that in a little bit, but these are some other risk factors that we like to look at as OTs. We classified into 2 different categories. There's intrinsic risk factors and extrinsic risk factors. So the intrinsic risk factors are factors that are related to the person themselves. So it's not necessarily the environment yet. As you can see, advanced age, 65 and up. Previous falls, if you've experienced a previous fall before, that's a risk factor to future falls. Muscle weakness, gait and balance problems with walking, poor vision. Postural hypotension is actually a very big one. Does anybody know what that is or have that? Postural hypotension is when, so the best example I like to give is when people first wake up in the morning and they get out of bed and you stand up really quick and you get that super dizzy feeling in your head. That's postural hypotension because it's your blood pressure not regulating fast enough from laying down to standing up. So this dizziness, that few seconds of foggy brain causes a lot of falls in older people. So this is something we like to target. And then obviously chronic conditions like arthritis, stroke, incontinence, diabetes, Parkinson's, dementia. These are all conditions that unfortunately happen as we age and get worse as we age. And then fear of falling. So some extrinsic factors, these are more related to the environment itself. Lack of stair handrails, obviously, if you don't have something to hold on to. Poor stair design, lack of bathroom grab bars. So this is more for people who are considered at risk of falls. You want to be able to just have that security. But it's good for everybody. You know,
I was just gonna say that, it's good for everyone.
Yeah.
Because your bathroom could be slippery or maybe your soap, you know?
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna fall, if there's something to grab,
Yeah.
it's, at least you can save yourself.
It's good to help you stand up and sit down too. It's just an extra support to have. Dim lighting or glare, obviously you can't see things that are in front of you. Obstacles and tripping hazards, slippery surfaces. Psychoactive medications is another one that's kind of, it's not for everybody. Now, everybody that's on psychoactive medications may not be at risk for falls, but it's a potential risk factor for some people. And then an improper use of assistive devices like a walker or a cane, what have you. Does anybody have any questions so far? Extrinsic, intrinsic factors. Okay, so this is an example of how the risk factors kind of play into each other, because obviously having one risk factor is not necessarily going to lead to a fall, but it's usually a combination of a whole bunch of smaller risk factors that eventually lead up to a fall. So the first one, if you have a fear of falling, for example, this person is worried about tripping and not being able to catch themselves, so they're extremely cautious when they walk. Right? That doesn't sound like a problem, but if you combine that with physical factors like weak legs, and you notice you kind of shuffle your feet when you walk, combined with the environment, my stairs don't have carpeting on them, so they're wood stairs, and there's no railing to grab onto, combined with a medical condition, such as postural hypotension, when you stand up and get dizzy. These all interplay with each other and eventually, not eventually, I don't want to see it, but increases the risk for falls. So it's important to consider as all the risk factors within someone's life. And that's a big part of OT as well. We tend to get to know you and your roles and how that interplays with the risk factors that we just described. Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, well, act together, you know, but if you have one, like fear of falling, if you've fallen before, it's normal to fear.
Yeah.
But it's an awareness, not necessarily a risk factor.
Mhm.
That's the way I see it. It's good, it's an awareness.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's I would say it's both. Because yes, you're more aware of, you're paying more attention to especially the thing that you may have tripped on that led to the fall at first, you're looking out for that. But the hesitation and the cautiousness that comes with it, you may see a curb, right? And you're cautious to step over it, so you're focusing more on that. And that focus tends to throw people's balance off sometimes. So it's a little bit of both. It depends on the person as well. Some people may see it as like a precautionary step, and other people may actually be afraid and take over precautions, if that makes sense.
I think if it becomes too extreme, then
Yeah.
it becomes a risk factor. But it's, I mean, it's, if it's too extreme, then it becomes a risk factor. It's like always good to be a little bit cautious, but if it becomes too much, then
Yeah.
it becomes a risk factor. Yeah.
Over hesitation can
Mhm.
sometimes be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, one analogy to that I think could help you understand better is like with driving. So if you're driving and you have an accident, oftentimes people would be more fearful. So now they're driving, but maybe they're turning much slower. It's gonna make you more prone to an accident because someone may expect you to turn at a certain, speed, but you're slower, so someone may hit you again, or I think that could make you just psychologically can make you more prone to accidents, even though you're more aware, but you're also having too much of a psychological input too. So I don't know if that helps. But the only reason why I'm trying to help you to understand, because the exact thing happened to me. I fell in the snow once, and I'm so afraid of falling that I'm extra cautious. And one time I literally saw a patch of snow and I was like, I don't want to fall. And I held on to the gate and I still fell. I was like, I can't believe I fell, even though I'm trying not to fall. So it's it becomes more of a psychological
If you
thing.
held on, if you didn't hold on.
I still fell, even though I was like, so,
Well, I fell off the bed, believe it or not, twice. Yeah, believe it or not. One time on this side, I was turning and I was too close to the edge, I don't know how, and I tried to grab and I just fell, but I have, my whole leg was black and blue, but nothing was broken, thank God. So that lasted a couple of months. The last time, this was last year, it was on the other side. I tried to turn over to get up, and somehow I couldn't grab anything. So I had the night table. So then my sister drove me to the emergency room because I was close to my eyes and I was afraid of my brain, but everything was fine. And I do have, if I want to put like a rail, but I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, really, like you said, Patricia.
It happens out of nowhere, right? You don't expect to fall, and then all of a sudden you fall. And what happens next? But that's why it's an issue. Not gonna work for sure. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Good. Thank you. This is another good image to describe the fear of falling. So maybe this will help too. Say you have, we'll start with a physical weakness. Say you have some sort of weakness in your legs or something. You're going to be more cautious, obviously. You may make the choice to socially isolate yourself. Say, I don't want to go out with my friends tonight because I'm afraid of tripping because of my weak legs, so I'm just going to stay home. If you do this often enough, that could, not always, but it could lead to anxiety because you've socially isolated, you haven't really spent time with other people. The anxiety could lead to depression because now you've been inside for months, you haven't talked to anybody, and then you stop being active. So you're going outside less and less. And the less activity that you partake in, the weaker you'll get. It's just how our bodies work. So you stop being active, you become weaker, and then the cycle starts again. So this is part of how a fear of falling can lead to worse situations. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about mindfulness and how mindfulness, as OTs, we can use this as part of treatment to help people be more aware of their fear of falling and to help kind of reduce that anxiety they have about falling. So I'll give it to Haley because this is her section.
So, does anyone know what mindfulness is? Basically. Yes.
Being in the moment.
Good. Being in the moment. Yeah. Anyone else? Basically said it, but
I thought that mindfulness is to just relax and think of something, not think of something like in the past that makes you feel good. And so mindfulness is think of the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, good. So being in that moment. So here's the definition. Being mindful means having your mind on what you're doing, which is the opposite of rushing or doing things too fast or doing many things at once. So to be mindful, you slow down to take your time. And it also involves acceptance. So you pay attention to the thoughts and feelings without judging them. So there's no right or wrong answers, no right or wrong ways to think or feel in a given moment. So when we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment, like you said, rather than rephrasing the past or imagining the future. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick activity soon about the whole mindfulness. But before we do that, does anyone know the benefits of mindfulness activities?
Relaxation
Relaxation.
and less anxiety.
Good, less anxiety. So we have physical and mental benefits. Physical, we have boosts energy levels, improves sleep, reduces chronic pain, improves heart function, and it helps with digestive problems. And then mental, like you said, reduces anxiety, relieves stress, improves moods and happiness, boosts concentration and focus, and improves self-esteem. So we're gonna practice now, okay? So this is called box breathing. You can do this anytime. It doesn't have to be related to fear of falling. You can just do it at home, when you're stressed, when you're feeling anxious, depressed, all that, okay? So we're gonna breathe in, inhale for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4, exhale for 4. Now we're just gonna repeat that 3 times, okay? We're all gonna do it together. So inhale, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, hold, exhale. Breathing through your nose, exhale through your mouth, okay? Inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Okay. How did that feel? You feel more relaxed, more calm? We only did it 3 times, but you can do this as many times as you want, probably like 5 to 10 times if you're doing alone. It brings balance to your mind and body. It regulates your natural rhythm and effective in dealing with stress, anxiety, and anger, like I mentioned. It's like the basic mindfulness meditation called box breathing. And now we're gonna do actual mindfulness walking, which is directly related to fear of falling. Okay, so we're all gonna stand up. So just as mindfulness is practice of bringing your attention to the present moment, mindful walking is a practice of becoming aware of your surroundings and how your body and mind feel while moving. Okay. We have to take 5 steps. I think that's good enough, right?
Be cautious of your neighbors.
Yes. Don't run into each other. So before beginning your walk, stand still for a few moments. Breathe in, out. Focusing on your breathing, take note of how your entire body is feeling.
How do your feet feel? How do your legs feel supporting all your weight?
Not too tight, kind of relaxed.
Your shoulders.
And now we're going to take one step at a time, starting with your right foot, okay? Lift your right foot, slowly bring it forward, and place it down slowly. And you'll continue with your left and take 5 steps slowly. But bring your full attention to the movements and sensations in your body. Notice the way you carry your body, the feelings in your feet, legs, arms, chest, and head. If there's no space, you can turn around. Oh, yeah, because this is like a really tight space here. Once you have connected with the sensations in your body, begin to open your attention to the sights around you. If you find yourself distracted by other thoughts, simply return to the focus on the movements of your feet, your breath, or the sensations in your body. You can continue walking slowly.
So I want to say a few words about this activity. It probably feels a little silly to be walking around very slow, but it's important to help you recognize and be more in tune with your body in the moment as you walk. So I think somebody said before how they have fallen a whole bunch of times just because they're thinking about too many things and they're not really paying attention to the environment around them or how their body is moving in space. So this is a good way to just bring yourself present, recognize what's around you, recognize how your legs are moving, how your body feels supported by your legs. And it's a good way to practice recognizing risk factors in the environment without having the anxiety and being more aware, like you were saying before, being more aware as to what's going on, but reducing the anxiety.
So now that we're done, notice how you feel. Do you feel calmer, energized, focused? Calmer. Good. This is something that you can do at home before you leave. If you're going to be walking outside, especially by yourself, you should do this for like a few minutes. Get your body into that walking, that moment, that feeling. And it should help you when you go outside with the fear of falling, anxiety, and all the benefits that was in the slide before this. Okay, so we're going to try one more thing together. This is basically the same thing. It's mindfulness walking, mindful walking, but a little bit different. So same thing you're saying before we start walking. Just relax, not too tight, no tension. We're going to take steps in. You don't have to take 10 steps. If you just come forward, you can just turn around and go back to where you're standing. So again, you're going to stand in place for a minute and take a few mindful breaths. Remember box breathing, you can do that too. Now you're going to lift your right foot, move it forward, place it on the ground in front of you slowly.
Sorry, everybody, we were muted. So we just had a question about like uneven floors and uneven sidewalks and everything, and how to deal with that situation. And we basically said that mindfulness is a good way to help walk through sidewalks that may be uneven, because we can be more aware of the unevenness under our feet. And doing so, we can fix our posture before a fall occurs. That was the summary, I guess. Okay, so is there any other questions, comments about mindfulness, about falling, about fear of falling, any experiences you've had? Okay, if you don't. All right, so we'll talk about what's coming up next in our future weeks. So these are some of the future modules that we have thought of that may be beneficial. We are going to hopefully talk about home modifications, so the grab bars that I was mentioning before, outdoor hazards, so the sidewalks and tripping on ice or rain and how that impacts you, appropriate footwear, medication management, how medication can impact your balance, how to get up after falling, that will be a good one, walking with assistive devices, canes and walkers, and then vision, how that plays a part in it, and then hearing. So a few of these we're hoping to have a guest lecturer, especially for the vision one, to join us and give their expertise, a vision expert, to hear what they have to say. So that would be interesting. And potentially hearing as well, have a hearing expert come in.
How
So-
about getting up and how to get up after falling?
That will be an interesting one for sure. There's like certain techniques you can use, certain strategies you can set up before, just to have the preventive measures in your home. But that's a very helpful one. Everybody enjoys that one. That's always a good one. Okay. And then again, I know I've asked this already, but we want to hear more about how you guys felt about this presentation. Since it is the first one, we want to make sure that we're targeting areas that you guys are interested in and would benefit from. So if you feel like today was kind of so, we want to hear that feedback so we can change it for the future. If you want more activities and less lecture, or more lecture and less activities, or what have you. So if anybody wants to add their opinion, that would be great.
I felt it was a good combination of both. I'm feeling confident that I'll really learn something and stop being klutzy.
Okay, great. It's good to hear. Thank you. Anybody else?
That's what I have to wear.
Mm.
My daughter wants it and I do it, I don't like it, but
Yeah, family tends to pressure you to some stuff like that.
that's a fall,
Yeah.
The walk in mindfulness was very, very interesting.
The which one?
The walk in
Mindfulness Walking?
I never
Yeah.
heard of that. Yeah, that was, yeah, man, it was a good combination. Yeah, you talked about, those.
Yeah.
I nobody realized that people can fall off the bed. I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's a big one.
People do?
People do all the time. Yeah, because when you wake up, you're kind of in a daze, right? You're not really fully awake yet, and then some people rush out of bed, or some people roll out of bed in their sleep if you're not fully aware. So it happens. Anybody on Zoom have anything to add? If you want, you can just unmute. Not sure. I see Lynn's eager. Okay.
I
Great.
think this was a good combination, like Deb said, of both. We should have both. We should have some activities
Yeah.
and lecture of both.
Okay.
It's
So
good.
you like the information part of it?
Like both, yeah.
Kind of us
Can do
teaching
it.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the first time, a lot of us have taken meditation here.
Mm.
And there's such a thing as mindfulness meditation.
Yeah.
So that's the only kind of mindfulness that we've experienced here.
Mm. So you liked getting the other
Yeah,
options?
sure. Yeah, that's good.
That's why I have said that mindfulness is like, like we do it here, that you close your eyes and you try to relax and picture something, a color or something, right?
Yeah.
That's what,
That's our meditation.
yeah,
Or we
so,
listen to a tape or somebody reads a script to put us in a certain mood, but
Yeah, you don't have them at home, right? You gotta learn some strategies for yourself.
sure, yeah. Maybe you could also, in the future, like, it was very helpful to have you print out a sheet, so we knew you were coming. So every
Okay.
week you have a sheet, so we know what you're gonna do,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can prepare a little
yeah.
for it.
Get the flyers out.
Yeah,
Okay.
very important.
Yeah.
PR is important.
All right.
YouTube has a lot of things of different meditation, because that's what I've been looking at. And it's very interesting, but then you have to find the kind that you're really interested.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I'm not interested, so I change, sometimes even a plain song from the 60s. That's also could be very relaxing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, finding your own ways to be
Right.
mindful. You don't
And also the
necessarily-
square breathing, the psychologist sent me on YouTube, but you can see it, but also the person talks, but I can't find it on YouTube.
Mm.
And I can do it, I know how to do it, but sometimes it's better if you listen to somebody, breathe in for 4, hold it, or look at the picture like that.
Yeah.
Are we getting out of the subject that we're talking?
No, this
No.
is good. Yeah. I know there's some apps on your phone you can get that help with, they have like guided meditation, guided mindfulness type things.
I mean, even here, if you guys want, we can always do like a short meditation before we start, or like when we're done.
That's nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
One question.
Yes.
What's the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Mindfulness is a lot more, what's the word? I want to say accessible. You can do mindfulness pretty much anywhere, like the box breathing. If you're sitting on a bus, you can do that.
Okay.
Your meditation is more isolated. You need like work
Okay.
environments. So they achieve kind of the same thing, but mindfulness is like a lesser version that you can bring with you, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's being more present.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a
Just being
mindset.
more present of what's outside of you as opposed to what's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay, does anybody online have anything that they want to ask? You can just unmute. Or put it in the chat.